In our talk about the acromioclavicular injuries, we will start with an overview. So, the acromioclavicular injuries affect the acromioclavicular joint that you can see in this picture here. Acromioclavicular joint connects the acromion, which is part of the scapula bone that you can see right here, with the clavicle bone that you can see right here. And the acromioclavicular injuries are common in athletes and workers who use heavy equipment. And they occur in any age, but especially in 20 to 40 years age group. And these injuries represent more than 40% of all shoulder injuries. Now, mild AC joint injuries are not associated with any significant morbidity, while severe injuries are associated with chronic pain and significant loss of shoulder function. Now, regarding the mechanism by which these injuries occur, so a classic mechanism is a fall on the shoulder with the arm adducted. So the patient falls on the shoulder while their arm is adducted to their chest. And this will lead to the acromioclavicular ligaments are torn first, and coracoclavicular ligaments are torn after with higher forces, leading to complete dislocation of the joint. So the acromioclavicular ligaments are torn first, and then the coracoclavicular ligaments are torn with higher forces. Another mechanism is when there is a fall onto the outstretched hand or elbow, may also result in AC joint injuries. Now let's move on to talk about how these injuries are classified. So injury is graded according to the Rockwood classification of acromioclavicular joint injuries. And Rockwood classification is a 6-grade system, and it is a modification of Allman and Tassy's 3-grade system. The first and second grades are the same in both systems, while grade 3 in Allman and Tassy classification is subdivided into 4 grades in the Rockwood classification. So basically, you can think of Rockwood classification as a more detailed version of the Allmans and Tassys. Now, the Rockwood classification classifies the AC joint injuries based on the acromioclavicular joint alignment, so if the joint is aligned or not, and also based on the coracoclavicular ligament status, if they are sprained, torn, or if they are normal. And also it classifies these injuries based on the deltoid and trapezius muscles status. Now that is because these muscles, the deltoid and trapezius, will insert into the lateral part of the clavicle near the AC joint, as you can see in this picture here. So this is the lateral part of the clavicle, and as you can see, the trapezius and deltoid both insert at this part. So when the AC joint dislocate, those muscles will be detached from the clavicle. So we also use the deltoid and trapezius muscle if they are attached or not to classify these injuries. So before we explain the grades of the Rockwood classification, let's first explain the acromioclavicular joint normal anatomy. So in normal AC joint, the inferior edge of the clavicle bone and the inferior edge of the acromion should be leveled. So they should be on the same line on clavicle anteroposterior view X-ray with a 20-degree cephalic tilt. So if we get this view of the X-ray, the clavicle IP view with 20-degree cephalic tilt, we should see that the lower edge of the acromion and the lower edge of the clavicle are both on the same line. So if we drew a line, they would be on the same line. But it is okay if the superior edges don't match up. So it's okay if the superior edge of the clavicle don't match with the acromion in normal AC joint. But remember, this is only applies if we take the clavicle AP 20 degrees cephalic tilt view. That is why we order this view X-ray if we suspect there is an abnormality of the AC joint. Now also on this view of X-ray, the joint space should be uniform and the joint distance is less than 8 millimeters, and the normal joint space should be between 5 and 8 millimeters. So the joint should be uniform, meaning the distance between the clavicle and acromion is the same all over the joint, and the distance should be less than 8 millimeters. Now we also will check the coracoclavicular distance, which is the distance between the coracoid process, which is here, and the clavicle here. So this distance here is called the coracoclavicular distance, and normally it should be between 11 and 13 millimeters, and there should be no greater than 5 millimeters difference between the right and left if we compare with the other side. And we should also look for soft tissue swelling. Soft tissue swelling is when the soft tissue is not black anymore. It would appear more whitish on the X-ray. It would appear more radio opaque, and that is when there is an inflammation, and that means that there is an injury to the AC joint. And on this X-ray, because it is normal, there is no soft tissue swelling. Now let's explain each grade of the Rockwood classification. So starting with Rockwood grade 1. So in grade 1, the AC joint is sprained, and sprain means an incomplete injury that occurred to the joint. So on grade 1, the clavicle is not elevated in respect to the acromion. The X-ray will appear normal. So if we drew the line in the AP clavicle with a 20 degrees cephalic tilt, we will see that the lower edge of the clavicle will line up with the lower edge of the acromion, and the X-ray looks perfectly normal. Although the X-ray is normal, but the acromioclavicular ligaments in Rockwood grade 1 is sprained, meaning it sustained an incomplete injury, while the coracoclavicular ligaments are normal, the AC joint capsule normal, the trapezius and deltoid muscles are both attached, and no abnormality in them. So the only abnormality in grade 1 is the AC ligament is sprained. Moving on to grade 2 of the Rockwood classification. So in grade 2 there is an AC joint subluxation. Subluxation means an incomplete dislocation. So the joint is moved out of its position, and in this grade the clavicle elevated but not above the superior border of the acromion. So as you can see in this picture here, if we drew a line on the lower edge of the acromion, we find out that it is not leveled with the lower edge of the clavicle. So the clavicle is elevated above, but not above the upper edge of the acromion. And the acromioclavicular ligament in this grade is torn, and a torn ligament means that it's a complete injury of the ligament, as you can see in this picture here, and the coracoclavicular ligament is sprained. So the coracoclavicular ligament has sustained an incomplete injury. The AC joint capsule is torn also, and the trapezius and deltoid muscles had sustained both minimal detachment from the clavicle. Now regarding the Rockwood grade 3, this is where the AC joint dislocate. So the clavicle is elevated above the superior border of the acromion, and the coracoclavicular distance is less than 25 millimeters. So this time the clavicle is elevated above the upper edge of the acromion, and the coracoclavicular distance is less than 25 millimeters. If it exceeds 25 millimeters, then it will be graded as grade 5, that we explain a little bit later. Now the acromioclavicular ligament and the acromioclavicular ligament in this grade are both torn, as you can see in the picture here, and the joint capsule is torn and the joint is dislocated, and the trapezius muscle and deltoid muscles are both completely detached from the clavicle. Now let's talk about the Rockwood grade 4. So this grade results from posteriorly directed forces that make the clavicle penetrates the trapezius muscle, sometimes completely. So this time the clavicle would displace posteriorly into the trapezius muscle, and the acromioclavicular ligament and the acromioclavicular ligament in this grade are both torn, as you can see in this picture, and the joint capsule is torn. Trapezius muscle and deltoid muscle are both completely detached from the clavicle. Now regarding the Rockwood grade 5, so this is when the clavicle is markedly elevated and the acromioclavicular distance is more than 25 millimeters. So the acromioclavicular distance in the grade 5 is more than 25 millimeters. And remember, if it is less than 25 millimeters, then it would be graded as grade 3. And the acromioclavicular ligament and the acromioclavicular ligaments are both torn, as you can see, and the joint capsule is torn. Trapezius and deltoid muscle are both completely detached from the clavicle. And finally, we have grade 6. This is when the inferior displacement of the clavicle beneath the coracoid process. So as you can see in this picture, in grade 6, the clavicle would be displaced below or beneath the coracoid process, that as you can see in this picture here. Now the acromioclavicular and the acromioclavicular ligaments are both torn, as you can see, and the joint capsule is torn. Trapezius and deltoid muscles are both detached from the clavicle. Now let's talk about the clinical features of a patient presenting with these injuries. So the patient complains of a shoulder pain and swelling, and they can't locate where the pain exactly is, which is the AC joint. So the patient will point to their AC joint. They will tell you this is where the pain at. And when you examine them, so on examination, there is tenderness over the AC joint while palpating the shoulder, and if there is no deformity seen, then the injury is either grade 1 or grade 2. But if there is deformity, then it is Rockwood grade 3, 4, 5, or 6. And the shoulder movements are limited in this patient due to pain, but active abduction to 45 degrees would exclude rotator cuff tear. So ask your patient to actively abduct their shoulder to 45 degrees just to exclude the rotator cuff tear. Regarding imaging, as we mentioned before, the preferred view is the anteroposterior clavicle with 20 degrees cephalic tilt view. So this view shows the inferior edge of the clavicle at the same line as the inferior edge of the acromion. And another helpful view is the axillary view. On this view, you can confirm whether there is posterior displacement of the clavicle, which is Rockwood grade 4. Now let's talk about the emergency management. So in emergency department, the patient is managed according to the advanced trauma life support trauma protocol that we explained in a previous video. And also, closed reduction is not helpful in these injuries, and it might hurt the patient, so don't attempt it. And the best way is to provide a sling, as you can see in this picture here, and give the patient pain relief. Now let's talk about the definitive management of these injuries. So in Rockwood grade 1 and 2, meaning in sprains and subluxations, they are treated with sling immobilization for around 1 week until the pain subsides, and the patient encouraged to exercise their shoulder, elbow, and fingers to go back to normal activity. And regarding the Rockwood grade 3, which are AC joint dislocations. Those are treated non-operatively unless there is extreme prominence of the clavicle, or in patients who want to resume their strenuous overarm or overhead activities, then we treat them operatively. And grade 4, 5, and 6 are all treated operatively. Now, the operative management of these injuries include accurate reduction of the joint, and fixation of the clavicle with the acromion is done using a hook plate. And there is also another operative techniques, and also there is the modified Weaver Dunn procedure. So the modified Weaver Dunn procedure include excision of the lateral end of the clavicle, and the coracoacromial ligaments are transferred to the outer end of the clavicle and attached by transosseous sutures. And the clavicle is anchored to the coracoid with anchors or slings to reduce the tension on the repair during the healing phase. And the elbow and forearm exercises began 1 day after the operation, and assisted shoulder exercises are started 2 weeks later, and active movements are started 4 to 6 weeks after the surgery, and strenuous lifting is avoided for 6 months until the injury is fully healed. Finally, let's talk about the complications that come with the AC joint injuries. So those include supraspinatus tendinitis. This is sometimes associated with the AC joint injuries, and the supraspinatus tendinitis may occur directly due to the primary injury, or it may result from edema or inflammation occurring after the initial injury. Now, what happens if the dislocation is left unreduced? So if we leave it unreduced, this would affect the function of the shoulder, and this will need to be treated with reconstruction of the coracoaclavicular ligaments and reduce the joint again, or if failed, then modified Weaver Dunn procedure is done. Now also, ossification of ligaments might happen, especially in severe injuries. This will lead to rotator cuff dysfunction, and of course, the most annoying complication is the osteoarthritis. This is a late complication that might occur with these injuries, and it would cause pain that would be chronic in nature. And with that, we reach the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please support this video by giving it a like and commenting your ideas and questions. And this video is about a bigger class. It's called the Shoulder and Arm Trauma Masterclass. You can check it out if you want.